DorkLair.
Welcome to another DorkLair collecting video. Today, I'm going to talk about the Mythic Legion's in-stock sale that's happening on May 22nd, 2020. So this video is going to be outdated pretty quickly, but I want to do it. I want to make sure that my audience has a chance to pick up some of these figures. It's going to be a very short opportunity to get figures sort of right away at presumably the pre-order prices. So this opportunity doesn't come around very often, and I just want to make sure that my audience is ready, because I know that I've introduced quite a few people to the Legions, and I just want to give people the info that I have and help them figure out what to get, how to strategize, how to kind of like be ready for it, and maybe meditate beforehand and stuff like that, because it can be a really stressful thing when your cart is sort of in the process of checking out for, I don't know, like I think Larry, my co-host last year, his checkout took like an hour because of the server lags and the demand on their system that only gets hit a couple times a year. So yeah, so I throw some tips out there. If you want to check out my last video, much earlier time in the channel, it was July 2019. That was a massive in stock. It was all of Advent of Decay, all of the All-Stars 2, and one other wave. I forget which one. Soul Spiller, I think. So it was just like, it was like 60 figures. They've changed the limits. They've changed the way they're doing it a little bit. And last time they confirmed beforehand that the prices would be the pre-order prices. I don't think they've confirmed that this time, but I'm kind of willing to go out on a limb and say that they will be the pre-order prices, which we'll go over in a few minutes. But let me quickly talk about what actually is going to be available in this in-stock sale. Many of the figures available are still available at that kind of like secondary retail price. So like if you miss one, don't get too panicky. Like you're not going to be missing out on a figure that's suddenly going to be impossible to find. I think there's one, which I'll get to, that's selling out, but other than that one, it's not that big a deal if you miss out on something. I would just focus on grabbing a couple figures, grabbing what's available, and be okay with not getting whatever the hot figure is, because there might be one or two that sell out real quick. So the two waves that are available here are the Siege at Bjorngar wave that released, I think, in November of 2019, and the Wasteland wave, which just came out, I think, in January or February. And the Siege at Bjorngar wave has 5 different figures. You'll be able to order individual figures. You're not going to be able to do any sort of all-in type thing. You're not going to be able to just put the whole wave in your cart and check out. I believe you'll have to add each figure separately. You are limited to 1 per. So you could get 1 of each figure, but you can't get 2 of anything or duplicates of anything for the first hour. The sale starts at 9 p.m. At 10 p.m., you'll be able to order multiples if there are things left to order multiples of. So looking at the waves here, the Siege at Bjorngar wave was the wave that introduced the Ogre scale figures, an incredible product. Really, really great figures. The Ogre scale figures from that wave, there were 3 of them. You had Kurzog, who's like the ogre, and then you had a giant barbarian-looking type guy named Bolthor the Tower, and then you had the Ogre Legion builder, which is an absolute bargain of a figure at the pre-order price, or the in-stock price, presumably. $40 for that is incredible. But before we get to prices, continuing with the wave, Fastia is the knight, and then you have, or I guess she's like a paladin, right? And then you have the little archer goblin called Thwick. All right, so you get 3 ogre scales, a goblin, and then sort of a 2.0 female knight. And then the next wave had 1 ogre scale, 3 sort of 1.0 type figures, and then 2 2.0 type figures. So the ogre scale figure, another just absolute stunner of a figure. I highly recommend picking this guy up. Archimedes is just absolutely awesome. I do prefer Kurzog. Like, if I were just going to have like one ogre scale figure, I think I would probably get Kurzog. But man, that Cyclops is incredible. In addition to him, we have 3 1.0 type figures. We have the 2 Masters of the Universe tribute figures. That is Krona, the Trapjaw figure or tribute. And then you have Purplor, who is also an orc. So it's got that swap out head to make an orc. So he's a great option if you've been looking for orcs, because orcs are hard to find. And then you have a dwarf, sort of a barbarian style dwarf named Torgen Redfin, who has a cool backstory. Check out my review of him. And then the 2.0 figures, you have another goblin and another female warrior type. So you have Thump, the goblin with the hammer, and then Cassia, who really is a highlight of that wave. I think Cassia was my favorite, maybe besides Archimedes. Cassia was my favorite when I got the wave, and I was just so blown away how awesome she is. Really cool figure. So, and she's like a barbarian style character. So those are all the different figures. And let me briefly talk about the price points here. So the pre-order pricing, like I said, the Ogre Legion Builder was a $40 pre-order figure. So I'm assuming that's going to be $40 as well. And then the other 3 character ogres with the more detailed paintwork, all 3 of those guys are going to be $55. And then everything else is $35. So you have all of the 2.0 characters, the goblins and the female warriors, and then you have the 1.0 figures, and all of those things are $35. So, I mean, this is the way. This isn't the way to collect it, but this is the time to try to jump in and grab some. Just be aware that things are probably going to sell out. Not only that, but like, even if stuff doesn't sell out, you might fill your cart and then go to checkout and spend literally an hour waiting, because last year, and hopefully they're, beefing up their servers and stuff. But what also happened in that past year, like, the community has grown incredibly. I mean, lots of people are collecting legions. It's caught the eye of sort of like the flipper market as well, which is kind of scary. And you have sort of like these crazy aftermarket prices. And so not only do you have like people who just want to get these customizers, people who just want to have like a massive shelf of legions, collectors of the line, but you also have people sort of like, quote unquote, investing in this line now and sort of like tucking things away. So you just have this massive amount of people just starting to collect. And I don't really think any sort of effort to beef up their servers is going to compare to the growth that the audience of this collectible has had in the past year. So just be aware, it's going to be a very difficult checkout process. In terms of like trying to figure out which ones are going to like sell out and which ones are going to be problematic for that situation where, you add Archimedes and Thump and Torgen to your cart and you start checking out, and 20 minutes later you get through the checkout process and it says the item is no longer available. And then you got to go back in and start the checkout process again without that item in your cart. And if I had to guess one that's going to do this, at least it's going to be Torgen Redfin, believe it or not. Now that figure was underproduced. It was one of the smaller production runs out of these because people just didn't pre-order it as much. At the time, they just didn't look at that as, they looked at Purplor and they looked at Archimedes, and, people put their money towards these other things, and they kind of said, I don't need another dwarf, and does that red mohawk really fit in? And I think a lot of people kind of passed on him. And then later on, a couple things happened. One, it sold out on like retailer sites like Big Bad Toy Store just recently. So the supply is drying up. And 2, people are realizing that it's an incredible figure for kit bashing, part swapping, customizing. It's got a regular sort of flesh tone arms and unarmored body and like the whole thing. And it's just got a lot of great parts. Like if you want to make a barbarian, like a full scale barbarian, you can just take Torgen and Krona and just mash them up, and you got a pretty sick looking barbarian. So yeah, like people realized how great Torgen is, and on top of that, the supply is very low because he was underproduced. And so my theory is that Torgen is going to be the one that everybody's like scrambling for, and he's going to be the one that sells out, and that'll be the one that gets cart jacked. Kind of like your cart gets removed from your cart before checkout. So that's my prediction. If I had to pick one, that's the one that's probably going to sell out. And now that's not me advocating for you to get a Torgen. This is me saying, skip Torgen. Forget about Torgen. Pick ones that you're going to be, really sure that you're going to get. Because nothing would be worse than putting a Torgen and an Archimedes in your cart, trying to check out. Torgen gets jacked from your cart, and then you go try to check out again, and then suddenly Archimedes is gone. That would be the worst. Rather than just putting Archimedes in your cart, checking out with Archimedes and being done with it, and you got your figure. So I just kind of wonder if Torgen is going to be that one that really kind of screws with people's checkout process. And if I had to pick another one that's going to sell really, really fast, I'm going to have to say that the customizers are going to be all over the Ogre Legion Builder, which is just an absolute value. For $40, $5 more than a regular figure, you get that. The customizer are going to have a field day with it because he's just ready to be customized. So yeah, I mean, those are my picks. Who knows? I might be totally wrong. I know that I'm really hoping I might actually do this. I'm really hoping to get multiple extra Purplors here. At the time of the pre-order, I ordered the one, like I did the all-in, but I wasn't really totally sold on even, having more than one at the time. But lately I have been getting more into customs and part swapping, and that's a really good one because it's an orc, like a quick paint job, and it's a green orc or any other color orc you want it to be, or you can create an army of purple orcs, which looks pretty badass in itself. So that's the one I want. It's awesome. It's a nice consistent look, like Krona is great. It has great parts and it's very barbarian-like, and it's got a lot of great pieces, but all those colors it's just kind of like on its own. I would never really imagine having more than one Krona, but I could imagine army building Purplors. But Krona is also another really good piece for customizing. I mean, it's got that other helmeted head and stuff, so that's a good one. But I do know that they tend to really heavily produce the Masters of the Universe ones, so hopefully the supply is pretty good on those. And my hope is that Purplor maybe makes it past that hour, and then I can order a couple Purplors. The other thing is I do kind of maybe want a couple extra Ogre Legion builders as well to try to maybe do a custom Ogre. I do have an extra head. I have like an unpainted head that I need to work on for a custom. So yeah, so those are my kind of predictions about what's going to go down. Tips, create an account, get logged in, make sure you're kind of ready to roll. By the way, if you're trying to like browse around these figures, you're not going to be able to see them on the Store Horseman site. You're going to have to go over to Source Horseman, which is an absolute joy of a website to go and browse around. But you can go to their menus and go and find these waves and see which figures are which and kind of what they come with, and all of the incredible photographs that just got updated too that are by 1/6 shooter Trevor Williams. And the site is just an absolute beauty of a site. Jeremy Gerard from Mythic Customs actually is their like webmaster and content creator, and just does an incredible job with that site. It's got to be hands down the best toy company website just out of anyone. Like it's not even close. So awesome site to browse around on as you kind of like pick out what you want to grab from the in-stock sale and figure out what to get. So I thought I'd just mention that. That's pretty much my video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'm glad to help and give advice. And again, my speculation part of it about what might sell out first, take that with a grain of salt. who knows? It's really hard to say what's going to happen there. And my advice, if you're looking to skip one that you feel like is going to sell out, my advice is to just skip Torgen. And everything else, I'd say just pick a couple and get them to your cart as quickly as possible and check out. Don't dilly. Don't sit there and decide at the time. Know ahead of time which ones you want. Get in there, add them to cart. Use your multiple tabs to kind of like open up separate windows so things can load separately. And get your stuff and try to get out of there as quickly as possible. There is a good chance also that stuff lasts a little while. I mean, their production runs have been steadily increasing over the years, but at the same time, I'm just not sure it's been keeping up as much with the growth in the collectors, the community who's collecting these things. It's huge now, so much bigger than even a year ago with my last video. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. Good luck with the in-stock sale. And until next time, Cabal above all.